I looked over at Wade and we stared at each other for what seemed like an eternity. "We don't have to talk about what just happened," he said at the end of that eternity. I let out a breath of air in relief. Oh my God, good. Then he flipped open the notepad for our history paper and added, "But just out of curiosity, you know that I'm kind of in love with you, right?" "Uh-huh," I said, pulling one of the books on the plague over to my side of the table and flipping through its chapters. "Yeah, I swear." I rolled my eyes. "Seriously, fuck you, Wade. Stop it." "Come on, it's not obvious?" The realization that he might not be joking trickled into me with cold terror. I froze. I was looking at the table, but I could feel his eyes on me. I don't know if he was waiting for a response or just making sure that the weight of what he had just said didn't leave a crater in me, which it definitely had. "Don't say that stuff," I said after a beat. My stomach solidified into a heavy mass of what seemed to be emotional lead. "Why? It's true." "You actually can't know that." "Yeah, I can, actually," he said in that maddeningly easy manner of his. "I was kind of in love with you right from the start. It would have been hard not to. You were aiming a slingshot at Derek's head. And then, when we were waiting outside of Mr. Wahlberg's office and you looked over at me like I was this huge creep, my heart almost stopped completely." It struck me how comfortable he was saying something like that, while everything inside of me was a bunch of pure chaos. He had detonated a bomb, and he didn't even know it. I looked across the room to where a group of kids were doing their homework. Girls and boys intermingled, talking and laughing. More ammunition waiting to blow them all sky high. "Seriously," I said. I couldn't look at him. "You can't say stuff like that." "Why not?" I couldn't believe that he might actually be so naive. "Do you really want to ruin everything?" I said, finally focusing on him. "You're practically the only person I can even stand having around." "So, what's the problem?" "Love. People ruin each other's lives by falling in love." "Not always." "Yeah, always, Wade. Always. It's the way it's set up. You can't even help being fucked in the process of being in love." "Some people might say being fucked in the process of love is kind of the whole idea." "Oh my God. Sorry. It would have been weird if I didn't make that joke." "Can you just be serious about this for a second?" I said, kicking him under the table. He nodded and gave me his attention in that way that kids give their parents attention when they already know they're not going to give a fuck about the lecture. "Okay, look." I took a breath. "I know it sounds easy, but it's not. Being in love, It's complicated and rotten and gross and turns you into this nauseating dipshit you never thought you'd be. People in love, they pretend like they're normal, but inside they're all hollowed out and dead by the time they break up, because nobody stays in love. And God, if they do, it's even worse." Some kind of realization came to his eyes. "I'm not talking from personal experience, okay?" I said quickly. "It's common knowledge. Have you ever read Anna Karenina or The Great Gatsby?" "I read this study guide thing on The Great Gatsby," he said. "Well, then you get the gist of it." He was finding all of this amusing more than anything else. "Are you really basing that theory off some books you read?" he asked. "I also did this whole mathematical equation I can show you later that proves my point, which is there's nothing about this idea of love that works out the way you want it to. It's completely booby-trapped from beginning to end. And anyway, it's not real. It's like a bullshit fantasy that everyone is brainwashed into, probably to keep the planet populated." "Wait, what mathematical equation?" I waved off the question impatiently. It doesn't matter. Just this equation. I figured it out with algebra. You're kidding, right? He said with a laugh. Why would I be kidding right now? I'm in that class with you in case you forgot. I've seen your funky algebra skills in action. Shut up! Listen, I'm serious.